Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and...
Hi, I'm Christopher Jayawardena. Hello.
And we're here to review Steppin' Out, which is an episode from Season 2 of Laverne and Shirley, directed by Dennis Klein and written by Deborah Lesh, and I'm sure you got some information on them, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, so Dennis Klein, this is him returning after having done It's the Water from Season 1. And as a director, he worked on a decent handful of different pieces of stuff. So actually, excuse me, on the directing front, he did two more episodes after this. Wow, I had my wrong set of notes here for a second there. Okay. He would do a lot of writing through the 70s and 80s and a bit in the 90s. And as well was the creator of the Larry Sanders Show. So yeah, It's got a good time there. He's also uncredited as a writer for Beverly Hills Cop 2 and worked on 9 episodes of Buffalo Bill, things like that. But yeah, so definitely it was good to see another person from season 1 who created one of the better episodes kind of come back in for this. As for Deborah Lesh, the author of this episode, as we discussed, I believe just recently, is another main alum, was also ended up going on to marry David Duclon, her co-writer on Look Before You Leap, but she also did 2 more episodes after this for Laverne and Shirley. And was a script consultant for Rhoda. And let's see if there's any other things here on my notes here. And also became the executive story editor for the 82 to 83 Laverne and Shirley run. So that makes me wonder if they kind of, as you keep saying that season 7, season 8 was kind of a mess. I wonder if they were bringing her in to kind of like just help figure something out.
Well, season 7 isn't too awful. It's not as bad as 8. 8 is just like watching comedy die and then choke its all on its own vomit. And then, but yeah, she might have been. She might indeed have been brought in to try to smooth everything out. Because, man, it needed it by then.
Okay. I just quickly checked in. It's all of the season 8 run. The story executive. So yeah, I just double checked because executive story editor starts at Mummy's Bride and ends with Here Today, Hair Tomorrow.
Oh gosh, that's the whole run.
That's the whole run.
Yep. Nothing says this season that needs help more than your star trying to hole up in a Hollywood mansion and refusing to come down to do the season. This is what Penny did. She legitimately did that to avoid the season, to avoid season 8. My
gosh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, nobody wanted to do season 8. Nobody did. And they did it anyway.
Oh, yeah. Man. That's sad in so many levels, and so well, I guess you could say they weren't stepping out. But back on track to this episode here. What do we have for plot today?
As their friend Angela's apartment building burns to the ground, the girls try to get ready for a big date. As everything from their wardrobe to a lack of water to interference from Carmine to pervy strangers to hair disasters beset them. Will they be ready in time? So what do you think of this episode?
Wow. That was intense and hysterical. My overall feeling towards the end, do I have here anything that, let me put it this way. Most of my notes are either in all the caps or have exclamation points. It's an episode of a lot of intense. This is intense physical and hysterical absurd comedy.
Oh yeah. This is a legendary episode of the series. This is probably, if somebody asked me to take an episode of Laverne and Shirley, show it to a stranger, convince them to watch the show, this would be the episode. It's got all the elements of what the show does and is. It's a bottle episode that takes place entirely in the girls' apartment. It features all the main players. And it does what it does really damn well. Really damn well.
Agreed.
I love how they kind of set up everything by bringing in everybody but the girls to the scene before the girls enter. Frank and Carmine are there doing something, taking care of her repair. Then Rosie comes in. And you get to see Rosie and Carmine together, and you get to see Rosie with Frank for a little bit, and then in come the girls. I thought that was an interesting way to open the episode.
That's a good point. It also helps illustrate the interesting because I want to say we've covered this, and I know you've mentioned this before. Is how Rosie is almost like this amalgam of Laverne and Shirley. She's like a bit of a mixture of a little bit of both of them because she went for the brass ring the way Shirley does, and yet she also has kind of got the little bit of sleaziness that Laverne enjoys. Where there's that line when she's talking to the two guys, and it's like, "Oh, Rosie, I didn't recognize you without a sailor," and it's like, "Oh, that's something that those two have got in common." But and it's a sick burn. It's a good sizzle there, you know. But yeah, that's a good point, and I love how even Carmine, you know, doesn't doing the door gag where he yoinks it and they come barreling into the apartment, which is, you know, it's becoming a thing for the show now.
Definitely. I love the way they're kind of like plays with the expectation of it.
Mm-hmm.
Way it plays the expectation of the girls will be there first, or how everything will run, and they just no, that's not how it goes. And then you kind of settle in, and it's very, very much the two of them alone trying to struggle with everything that is besetting them from the outside world. Which this show does very, very well. Very, very well in this episode.
Right. Yeah, it's an amazing. It's interesting how they build up this, like, the chaos outside that's getting worse and worse and worse, and then, you know, them inside with their own chaos that's getting worse and worse and worse. It is also amazing, especially like to watch that this year, how there's literally a building on fire on their street, and they're just worried about their date.
Yeah.
And if that's not our millennial 2020 experience in a nutshell, you know, I mean, arguably that's been a lot of just the struggles of the last, like, what do you figure, about 5 or 6 years?
Yeah.
You know, where it's like we become aware enough, but yeah, we have to be willfully oblivious to not be overcome and to just go on with our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, we kind of have to stick our heads in the sand while literally somebody's apartment building is burning down 2 inches away. And everybody else around them, in a lot of ways, is trying to either participate in the fire. Like the boys are out there rubbernecking, as the firemen tell them they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And pretending they're firemen and trying to get involved in the whole situation. Edna's trying to hose the building down to prevent it from catching fire. So Angela's building must be fairly close enough where it's a danger or it could go up.
And it's also a case, I mean, my understanding is, like, if the wind blows the embers enough, I mean, something will catch. Yeah. So, you know. Yeah. So that's often I hear is the concern. But I love God, speaking of Edna, the few scenes she's in, just my God, because she's in like 2 scenes in this episode, I want to say.
Yes. She comes in with her slicker and her hose in the girls' bathroom. And
the whole thing of, you know, it's Lenny and Squiggy just out there with sticks in their hands going, "Weenies, weenies, give me weenies."
Weenies. That's such a great line. Such a great moment. And you can just picture the boys doing it without having to actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, and then Carmine is over there helping people. You know, Lucille's there rubbernecking too for some reason, distracting the firemen.
Right.
And then everybody else is out there doing all this stuff, and the two of them are just in their little room trying to be ready in time for these two guys who may or may not be their future, but turn out to be jerks.
Yep. And God, it's oh my gosh, yeah. There's so much going. You know, I mean, that's the thing is there's these amazing little vignette gags that, you know, go through the episode. I mean, this is easily one of the funniest episodes of the show, just because of the fact that you get these. Yes. Everything's been refined. I mean, I'm curious how much, if anything, was cut from the syndication edit, because it just gets so tight. You're just getting gag, you know, one after the other. Yeah. I mean, there's even like little callbacks, like, you know, like the fact that they're going to see the 5 Satins at the restaurant, which is a nice callback to In the Still of the Night being, you know, the common song of season 1. And the whole, like, you know, charity bazaar, like the whole bit with Rosie is great. You know, it's the charity bazaar. You know, whoever gets the most clothes for the orphans gets a gold plaque, and, you know, I mean, and there, you know, there's the just even just the through line of all this stuff that befalls him. Like, even if there wasn't the fire chaos going outside, this would be funny. It just adds this excellent, great way where like it's already intense them trying to get ready in a hurry, and then all this other chaos from the outside keeps coming in. You have this guy coming in to use the phone, and you've got, Lenny and Squiggy in their outfits, the fireman's outfit, and then the water pressure thing and needing water.
Yeah.
And I need to bring this up because I do have this on my notes in all caps. The wide shot that sets up the toilet joke is the framing is perfection. It's so good.
Yeah, God. And the way she just slowly goes. Poor Shirley just trying so hard to get her hair washed.
Yep.
And how hard of a journey it is for her just to get to clean hair is a really great little saga within the episode. I loved the way they framed that gag. Laverne just considering it because Shirley is not giving up on the idea of having washed hair. So she's like looking at the toilet. Just looking at the toilet, and then Shirley just pops out and goes, "Don't you dare." She just knows.
Yeah, don't even think about it. Yeah, and I love the cut to the insert shot is so good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that shot. I love everything about it.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of the folks that come into the house, is the Ron Prince is the actor who's the guy who needs to use the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, that little exchange, it's like, I don't call my wife. If I don't call my wife, she'll think I'm fooling around. You fool around, and
and then the wife accuses him of fooling around anyway.
Right, exactly.
So.
Which means something. Rather fittingly, that actor was also in Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, by the way.
No way. I would never have guessed.
Yeah, he also was in the Jim Kelly movie Hot Potato, but that's completely beside the point. I just wanted to reference a Jim Kelly movie. But yeah, get out of here, you crazy man. Yeah, just those little gags, and they're trying to dry the hair, and then why don't you stick your head in the oven? Which is like, oh God, Cheryl, don't plath yourself, please.
Yeah. There'll be other fires. Don't kill yourself. There'll be other fires.
Gosh. And I love even Shirley's balloon, the long daydream. Mrs. Shirley Devon, little baby Todd Devon. Come here, Toddy. Come on, little Todd.
Daddy fine. Good daddy fine. Of course, it's with mama. That's what she thinks.
God.
The way she kind of like long-term games this idea that this dude is going to be it, and she'll have babies with him. It's like, well, Laverne just shakes her head at her and just like, keep sewing.
Oh, that's right. And I'm looking at my notes, and that leads directly into the boys in the fireman's outfit, coming in, and then noticing them, Laverne in her slip, and God.
Yep. And the hand bite, and then her trying to hide behind the refrigerator door. And the way that works out for her and doesn't work out for her because a whole door swings backwards and reveals her again.
Yep.
Fire, go play the fire boy. Is Shirley naked too?
Oh yeah. He says, "Oh my God, she's cooking herself to death."
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself, Cheryl. There'll be other fires.
There'll be other fires. Yep.
Yeah, which actually I have a note. You can actually hear the audience reacting to a lot of this exchange really well too. Like it's we haven't been covering how there are times when the film before a live audience, you could really, there's some reactions you can really tell. Like in the when Laverne gets freed in Guilty Until Proven Not Innocent, the audience the crowd go wild on that.
Yeah.
And here there's a lot of bits you could just hear the audience is completely dying laughing. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And it's like when the proposal happens in Neighbors. When the proposal happens, look before you leave. And Michael finishes this long proposal, and he just gets to the end of it, and he puts his head up in his knee, and the audience loses it for like a good 10 seconds, 15 seconds there. It's just like, that's a good audience reaction.
It's 10 seconds is a lot, but it's at least 5 to 7, which is a lot longer than most laughs get in a studio audience. Or reactions, I should say.
If the audience loved this episode, the live audience loved this episode, and rightfully so, because it was a good episode.
Okay, speaking of Lenny, why has Lenny got a shower cap on his hat?
To keep it dry. To keep it from catching on fire like the other dudes. The guy with the apartment.
Oh, okay.
That's probably his logic. Even though the shower cap is probably flammable. Actually, it's probably to keep from getting wet from the fireman's hoses, probably as well.
Right.
Too.
Right.
That's probably the other thing.
Yeah.
But I love that they run around in their little fireman's outfits, trying to help, but they're not helping. Not at all. In any respect, at any second. That's like I said, on brand. That is on brand for them. Where they're trying to help, but they're not helping. Right? In their minds, they're helping. In their minds, they're heroes.
Yep. That's the thing, they're kids playing pretend, and so they get to pretend that they're heroes for this wonderful night.
Yeah.
While Angela's place burns down.
At least Angelo lived. Hey, Angelo's alive. He made it through it.
That's true.
Left. Second he saw it was on fire, he moved.
Yeah. But yeah, and so for the last leg of the I have a note here as well is and I'm kind of curious if this means there was a scene that was cut out or if it was just actually a detail that got left in from the take. So they do their last little rush to get everything done, the last minute details, the nails, the sorting of the purses. I'll get back to that in a minute actually. And so first, you have Laverne, tappa, scuffing the floor. I love that, across. When they leave the bedroom, she says, watch out for the glass. And there is indeed a piece of like a glass something on the floor, which makes me wonder if there was like either a scene that was cut or that it was something fell from art department. It literally was the actor saying to the other, watch out for that.
That's my question, because we obviously do not get that scene. I need to see the way it plays out in the non-syndication edit, in the full edit, because either something was completely axed or something was done with mistake. One never knows.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, the sorting of the purses. It's like one of the great last minute jokes before this whole set piece concludes, and them trying to figure out the sorting. And my question is, Shirley, oh my God, why are you my mom? My mom does that with her purses. She used to. She's better about it now. I love you, Mom, but it is a case of wow. There's so, and she complains. There's so much in her purse. It's so heavy, and it's like pull out this and pull out this and pull out this and pull out this, and it's there's pluses and minuses to it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've learned the similar discipline with my backpack, and that saved my butt on set. When I'm the one person who does like a 10-hour shoot, I'm the only person with a painkiller on me. So I have ibuprofen with me, so that when an actor says, "Oh God, like I'm starting to get a headache from the lights," like I'm the only one who's got it.
There you go. Hey, it's better to be prepared than not.
Exactly.
End. And she's prepared, and that's very on brand for her. Laverne wouldn't.
Yeah, but yeah, it's anyway though. Yeah, so as he reached the conclusion of this episode, it's got a wonderful build up, and then we both look sensational, and then they're early, you know, and of course the boys have to do the one last thing. Is even when they've going through the trouble of posing to stand by their coats and look alluring.
Yeah, and then they end up out of their own curiosity, because it's not really the boys' fault it's the boys' fault for not telling the complete story.
Yes. On
one hand, but on the other hand, it's not like they meant for them to get soaked.
Right.
They're getting soaked too. Which, considering how few baths they apparently have in canon, it's probably a good thing. This episode is about Murphy's Law. In the best of ways. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and does go wrong. And so the girls' reactions to it are so telling. Shirley's just standing there laughing. Laverne's crying and then laughing and then crying and then laughing. And that's fitting for them. That's very fitting. Very fitting.
Totally agree.
I love the dynamic between the two of them this whole episode.
Yep.
So a lot about the way the two of them interact with one another, about the way they try to prepare each other for this big, enormous date, and trying to help each other with fashion, giving each other suggestions. try to get each other through the whole preamble into the date. And that's it's very much what it's like when one is hanging with one's friend and trying to get everything together and get yourself together. So
totally.
I really liked it.
It's it's your partner, you're in the trenches together trying to do this thing.
Yeah, exactly. The two of them in the trenches together. That is the most possibly on brand.
Yeah. And I love the payoff to that is that, go through all of that and it comes down to jerks. Yeah.
Jerks.
And then at least Barry and Larry, worked out better on a later date or later the night or something. I couldn't quite tell, honestly.
I'm guessing that's another night because they come back and do different outfits and there's another set of outfits. So I love that tag scene.
The tag scene's great. Yeah. It turns out not all the boys we meet at work are jerks after all. Period. And I have my note here that says that in all caps is Laverne, no.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess I've had a good impact on her tonight. We were both able to keep our self-respect. Oh boy.
Well, she quickly tries to lose her self-respect at any possible moment.
Yep.
There's some really, really, really good dialogue in here. I love Shirley's rant after the Quickie Poo shampoo she tries to use, which is a brush and shampoo, fails her and results in her ripping, and results in her in a total mess.
Right. Yeah, losing the chunk of hair, and having a bald spot.
Yeah, bald spot. I was going to mention that. We're suing Quickie Poo. We're suing the cleaners. We're suing Cook, and we're suing Cook, Fred, and Ollie. It's still hilarious. Still great. It makes me laugh every single time I watch this episode. It just rants.
And Laverne's little, what was it? She mentions two of them and not the third. I can't remember,
She's sue Kukla and Fran, but don't sue Ollie. I think that's what the line is.
I love that. Gosh. Yeah, this is a blast of an episode. Yeah. I mean, it's over the top. It's super fun, super funny. To be honest, if I ever am in a position to direct comedy, physical comedy, this is going to be one of the things I'm going to research.
Yeah. This is, like I said, classic ball episode, classic physical comedy episode, classic episode of Laverne and Shirley. This is one of the hallmark episodes of the show. And it's definitely one of those things that you can point up to and say, yeah, this is what the show is.
Yep. So, it's good stuff. Yeah, and I think I'm far enough in. I can say I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
So what would you rank this one?
This one is a solid 9 for me. Solid 9.5.
Nice. I'm gonna have to agree. It's a case of where what it doesn't have in dramatic, weight, it makes up for by just being if you watch one of the heavier episodes of the show, like if you're doing this out of order or just you're just watching the show casually. And this is a pick me up episode. This one's going to make you feel good. Yeah. You're going to feel better at the end of it, and so it's a great antidote to what ails you. And I think that's worthwhile. And just it's so well executed that 9. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, 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 very solid episode. It's one of the show's best. And it's definitely worth watching.
Nice.
Definitely.
Cool.
So, yes.
And I guess with that, then I guess we're done for today. A little earlier than usual. We have a lot of love for this episode, but it's kind of something that's hard to explain per se because it's so visual. It's so visually hilarious, and you really have to experience it for yourselves. And so we highly recommend you check this one out. But that being all said, if you would like to know more or you would like to get in touch with us in some fashion or another, you can find us on these social media platforms, as well as you can email us comments or questions at nightafternightpod@gmail.com. We are also available on the YouTube comments. And if you want to, check us out for one of our watch-alongs that we try to join in on the weeks, you can check us out at Night After Night PC on Twitter. We're also Night After Night Pod on Facebook, as well as on Tumblr and WordPress. And I think, and lastly, is we do have our Patreon. So if you would like to give us a little financial support, it's always appreciated and helps us for offsetting the cost of the discs and to help us move toward, incentives and things like that. So that's all a good thing. So thanks everybody again for watching. And, Lisa, I'm checking my pockets here. Why don't you go ahead and tell folks at home what the next episode is? Because I don't know. Can you spare a father by any chance?
Shirley's father Jack returns to Milwaukee to see his daughter and to sell the family cemetery plot. Shirley thinks she's going to spend a lot of time with her dad, but her dad becomes unavailable, causing her to seek a way to spend time with her father. That's Buddy, Can You Spare a Father? That's next week.
Cool. So all right, I guess we'll find out if we can. At the very least, I'm gonna need a quarter, I think. But anyway, thank you again so much, everyone, for joining us, and I guess we'll see you next time. We hope you have a wonderful week, and and with this episode in mind, remember to treat yourself to a good laugh episode. Good Laverne and Shirley, maybe a good podcast. Just get yourself a mocha. Maybe get some acupuncture, a massage, and go for a nice walk along the beach. Hopefully at a 6-foot distance from everybody, because we're still in lockdown at this current point. And just have yourself a good time. Thanks again, everybody.
Have fun. Try to socially distance yourself from fires, just like the boys will. Just like the boys do in this episode, socially distance yourself from fire. There you go. Those are your advice for the week. See you soon.
Bye.